I thrive with variety couched within consistent habits. And if you're like me, keep watching because today's topic is my 5 favorite ways to keep writing fun. I get bored pretty easily, and when I get bored, it is not good. I also get distracted pretty easily, and so that is why a variety to keep my attention is so important, but consistent habits to keep me on track and focused is also important. And I have learned over the years how to balance the two in a way that works for me. So that leads me to my first way of keeping writing fun. I plan just enough to know what's coming next. Now, there's all kinds of debate among writers about the best way to write, whether to outline, to detailed outline, really flesh out your characters and have a good sense of your story before it happens. And then there's those on the other side who think that it is much better to discover the story as you are writing it, to be able to encounter what happens as your character is encountering what happens. And I think there's merit to both. For me, I land somewhere in the middle. This is a place where it's really good to know yourself, to know what works best for you. Sometimes I like an outline so that I know where I'm going, but if I outline too much and I've already got the story figured out, well, then I lose interest and I'm off to the next thing. That's not helpful to my writing. So my first tip to keep writing fun is to plan just enough to know what's coming next. I love that messy ideas list at the end of my document so that all of my ideas can just park there and land there. And I love the idea of when I'm beginning a chapter, pulling out those ideas so that I know just enough to know what this week's writing is. I generally have an idea of what I'm writing tomorrow, and I may have kind of my loose outline for a week's worth of writing. But that's about as far as I go. I have a pretty good concept of the book. I've planned enough to know what the book's about, and I've planned enough to know where I'm going, but the getting there part is still a discovery process for me. So that's why I plan just enough to know what's coming next. My second tip to keep writing fun is to have a consistent writing time. This is where the habit of writing really serves me well. Again, I get distracted pretty easy. If I just wake up and do what I feel like, there is no telling where I would start my morning. Some days I might start with some really good focused work, and some days I might start by playing a game on my phone. And so instead of that, I have some boundaries around my time, especially in the mornings when I am most focused, to be able to get writing done. So what I like to do is to have a set writing time so that I show up to write every day. My set writing time isn't really a time of day. It's a place in my morning schedule. I have a few things that I always do, and they're contingent upon waking up. So once I wake up, I do a few things, and I get to my writing with my cup of coffee. That's how I show up to write every day. And it really doesn't matter if I wake up at 5 o'clock or at 9 o'clock. Those consistent things are part of my morning schedule. And that's how I remember to show up to write. So tip number 2 is a consistent writing time. I know it doesn't sound like fun, but for me, it frees me to be fun because I never feel guilt or feel that sense of, oh, I need to get to writing. Oh, I haven't written today. I just let go of all of that and I get to just enjoy the writing process. My third way of keeping writing fun is that I get to decide what I write in the moment. So many days I like to start in my manuscript. I like to work on whatever my current book project is. But I always give myself the freedom to do something different if writing in the book project doesn't really catch my fancy, isn't the thing I'm interested in doing. I always show up to write, but what I write has a lot of variety. So this week, if you watched the Write with Me, you may have noticed that I was journaling. That's one thing that I do in my writing time. I usually have a writing project that's in the wings. And so if I'm not feeling it on the current book project, I may do some planning or something that kind of gets me inspired about the next writing project. I always have those options. And remember tip 1, how I like to plan ahead just enough to know what's coming? Well, that also gives me some liberty in what I choose to write today. I may have 5 sections that I want to work on in the manuscript this week, but I don't have to do them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could do them 3, 2, 1, 4, 5. I can do them in whatever order I choose because I have a big picture sense of where they go, but I have the freedom in the moment to choose. That has been incredibly helpful. There are times where maybe I've taught the night before and I wake up and I'm tired and I'm sluggish and I'm just not moving very fast. When I don't feel very alert and it makes me feel like I'm not writing well, that is usually a good time for me to work on something different. That way I'm not writing with all those thoughts of, oh, this is terrible. I don't feel like writing. Oh, it's hard to put thoughts together. Whatever those thoughts are that run through my head, I don't have to worry about that because I have options. That's that variety piece in writing that is so essential for me to keep writing fun. My 4th way to keep writing fun is that I like to switch up the kinds of writing that I'm doing. So I already mentioned that I journal and work on a manuscript, but even the kinds of things I'm working on to publish change pretty drastically because I need that variety. So academic journal writing and books, those certainly feed my professor side. But sometimes after writing a heavy or research intense project like that, I want something that is much lighter and more freeing. Right now, I'm working on a novel just for fun. I don't feel very confident in my fiction writing, and so one of the ways that I let that be a fun project is I am giving myself full permission to never publish it. Right now, I'm just working on my novel writing skills, and that feels fun to me. Sometimes I write children's books. During this project, as I've been really busy with trying to get these 100 videos out for YouTube, it's been really helpful to me to have very short and creative projects. And so I've been working on some ebooks that are less copy intense and a lot more picture based so that it kind of frees up that creative side. By switching up the projects that I work on, it keeps me engaged with my writing. And there's always a challenge because there's new things to learn with new ways of writing. So changing up what I write is the 4th way that I like to keep my writing fun. The 5th way that I keep writing fun is I read a lot. I read a lot of books and I read a lot of variety in the books that I read. I'm always interested in learning new things, so I love nonfiction, but I also sometimes need to kind of disengage and just escape into a novel, so I like to read those. As I am reading what other writers have written, I am also hearing the way that they use language. I am learning new vocabulary words. I am experiencing those literary devices like personification and alliteration and metaphor use. And I am learning to write better because I read what other writers write. Now, you've heard that before, I'm sure, that if you want to be a good writer, you need to be a good reader. But I actually consider it part of my writing career. I love to read books, and my library card is one of my most essential assets. So there it is. Those are 5 ways that I keep my writing fun as a creative who needs consistency to get things done. If that works for you, then I hope that you found a tip in this video that will be helpful to you as you continue to write. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one.